Mhm, mhm. Right. Good morning to everybody in Canada, USA, Latin America. Good afternoon, wonderful lunch to everybody in Europe. Good evening to everybody in early evening in India. And of course, soup time and dinner time to all our friends in Southeast Asia. And of course, wonderful dreams, beautiful night to everybody in Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and other parts of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move in our journey further. Let's move ahead, all of us together. Our chamber, ICSI, has taken up an agenda and we are working with a mission how to make education relevant, how to make education more practical, how to make education more with the life management skills. And of course, there are various stakeholders in the entire education system: schools, vocational institutions, colleges, universities, technical management institutions, health and wellness institutions, counseling service providers, technology providers, policymakers at the national, international arena, innovation, research, strategies. Of course, at the same time, we have got NRIs, NGOs, corporate houses, support providers. We have got government organizations, various ministries. In India, we have got Ministry of HRD, Human Resources Development. And along with that, you've got AICT, you've got UGC, you've got AIU, you've got National Council for Teacher Education, you've got NCRT, you've got NIPA, and you've got various other stakeholders. There's a wonderful concept in education, whether school, college, institution, university, which we will share with all of you. And that's the concept of finishing school, because we are giving a lot of inputs for the same in Mongolia and Central Asia at this point of time, of course, besides India. And then, of course, you have got with counselors a pool of motivators, education motivators, and life management skills providers. Ultimately, the whole focus of the education is our youth. Who are our youth? What do they want? In entire education system, we wish to understand what exactly youth are looking forward to. What do they enjoy? What do they want to do? Why a particular youth chooses a particular subject? Well, education, which has to be now learning centric. And during this COVID-19, this particular pandemic, when we talk about, let all the education stakeholders join hands to empower the education and the humanity for bringing peace on this planet. Ladies and gentlemen, at present, world over, you have got a large pool of various stakeholders, almost 850 million children. They are locked in their respective residences. They are at their homes, and they are not in a position to go to schools, colleges, institutions, and they're having a lot of difficulty. At the same time, education fraternity, teachers, educators, counselors, and our technical experts are trying their best to reach out these children wherever they are, but still to bring a harmony, because somebody is in the metro, somebody is in the rural area, somebody is in the semi-rural area, somebody is in the interior, somebody is in the far-flung places. So how to get the seamless connectivity and everybody gets the same kind of an exposure is a challenge, particularly at this point of time during this COVID-19. When we proceed, how technology basically the TV channels, radio, mobile phones, electronic gadgets, community radios, they can help us in empowering education. But remember, at the back of this entire technological devices, you have got teacher, because teacher has got empathy, teacher has got emotions, teacher has got a kind of a feeling for children which cannot be shown or expressed by gadgets. Gadgets can complement, supplement, but nobody can replace teachers. Teachers will always be there. Educators will always be there, irrespective how much we develop and progress. But at the same time, do we require supervision all the times? There's a wonderful video, you must see it on YouTube, Dr. Sugata Mitra's, and he says, evolution of learning environment, can kids teach themselves? And he did wonderful example, and experiment in his village. In his village, on one of the walls, he put 2 computers without any teacher, without anybody. And he fixed one camera on the top where the recording was taking place. What exactly kids do? How do they fiddle? How do they learn? What do they do with this particular gadget when they come over here? How excited they are, how surprising they are. And after 1 month, the results were remarkable. We will share in our subsequent slides when you will see. There is a gentleman called Sir Ken Robinson. Whenever I attended his program abroad, he says, knowledge is a collective contribution. It's not a monologue, it's a conversation. And he also describes there are 4 purposes of education. Most of the parents feel economic purpose. That means my child should finish his studies, her studies as soon as possible and should start earning. And now new pedagogy is coming, earn and learn. You got to study also, and you got to do a part-time job also. That's what the challenges are likely to come in the near future. So 4 purposes of education when it talks about economic, social, cultural, and personal. If you want to keep your cultural alive, education. Social norms, once again, etiquettes, manners, gesture, body language. And how do you take care of your elders, youngsters, and family relationship, all that when you talk about. And of course, education has got a personal purpose also. Sometimes you cannot express why you are passionate towards one particular subject. Now, what could be the innovative, pragmatic education action plan? I'm not talking about policy over here alone, because policies are documents which are being prepared from time to time. Various policies have come, various policies will go away. Action plan is which is implementable and where there is an accountability. What exactly you have implemented and what are you achieving? So the education system, how it can be 100% relevant to today's times. Research and creativity based education. Life relevance, the case study should be practical. It should be related to our life. How to repair tap, how to fix your bulb, tube light, electricity, how to take care of air conditioning, how to clean and maintain hygiene in your residence. At the same time, how to cultivate. I'm not talking about flowers, ornamentals. I'm talking about organic vegetables, how to make kitchen garden. It's all practical part of it. Maximum industry interface. Why to call industry only at a time when we have to have on-the-job training, or we have to have jobs being placement-driven strategy? Adaptation of technology is again very important. Positive way. Let's adapt the technology positive way. And of course, the entire education has to be, because we are in the different part of the world, let's give respect to everybody. Culture and value-based education is very important. But of course, when I just touch on this slide, government e-education policy, now we would require e-education policy. There are 2 countries, those are already having e-education policy in the world. We can go through those documents in subsequent days. We will share with you. We will have some relevance and we'll give you some inputs. And then along with that, the educators, corporate, parents, and the day is not very far when the youth, the students will also sit and they would discuss when the curriculum and the contents will be formulated. And with education, we talk about skills. Now, two pedagogies or two school of thoughts are there. Is education for living or is education for life? And also, we should go one step further. In your own time, you can go through and you can find out what is the difference between skill and competencies. Should we stick only to skills or do we go to competencies? Is it a higher stage? Is it one stage ahead? That part is very important, which we have to say. Hard skill and soft skills, both have to be taken care of. It's very important. Now, to have these skills, hard skills, soft skills, and life skills, life management skills, there is a need to have a finishing school. If every school converts just one room, if you have got any room which is locked up, which is like a storeroom, which you're not utilizing, which is you're just dumping whatever is left over, your broken furniture, other kind of an items, try and vacate that, try and utilize that, and develop that particular room for just three things: personality enhancement, communication skills, and of course, along with that, life management skills. Give it the subjects because it is going to be for personal and professional growth, not only for the youth, but for the teachers and the educators as well. And whenever you come to school, whether a youth or a teacher, whosoever we are, whosoever is engaged in the education ecosystem, always tell yourself, I have a dream to fulfill. I can do it. I will do it. I must do it. It's necessary. It's possible. Today is my day. This is my year. This is my life. This is my decade. And I am the best. Start loving yourself. Start appreciating yourself. Teachers, you have got different roles to play. Teachers, you have got different roles to play. And I always consider educational institutions as theaters, as big auditoriums. If you have a classroom, it's a theater. Students are the audience. Teacher is a performer. You're managing the stage, your vocal management, your content management. You've got to be passionate toward your subject. Creativity, presence of mind, empathy, and always self-motivated and motivating children as well. How to make teaching profession more attractive? Now, some of us, we come into this profession willingly and we are interested to get into this profession. But some of us are coming to this profession accidentally. And some of us are coming for the peer groups. And some of us, we are coming circumstantially. I will share with you as I proceed. How to develop innovative pool of education counselors. Now, ladies and gentlemen, counselors play a very, very important role. Outside abroad, you call psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever name you want to give. But in a polite way, the counselors. So I was talking to somebody yesterday itself. Is there any course for counseling in India? Exclusively education counselors. If that course is there, how practical it is? What should be the background of that person who wants to be counselor? He or she should be a happy person, happy child, innovative, creative, collaborative, and all the times you got to bring humor in your education. Ladies and gentlemen, humor works as a lubricant like in machine, because whenever you have a humor, and music therapy, very important. Gamification in education is coming in a very big way in the times to come. Now, it's a privileged moment for me. I've got three distinguished guests this evening with us, those have joined us. Let me have a privilege to introduce my three esteemed guests, my distinguished guest. I've got Madam Vandana Kapoor. She's the founder principal, SLS DAV Public School, Mausam Vihar, Delhi. Mausam Vihar, when I talk about, it's a climate Vihar. And when I look at Mausam Vihar, that means you've got to make a positive climate and you've got to change the climate. She is principal and she keeps a holistic view of education. She has been relentlessly working for the cause of education in the DAV organization for the past 29 years now, and is still working with utmost zeal, dedication, devotion, and commitment. Total work experience of 37 years. A very hearty welcome to the lady this evening. She's a national awardee who has been honored with coveted National Teacher Award 2010, constituted by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, presented by Her Excellency, the former President of India, Shrimati Pratibha Patil ji, and Silver Star Award of 2007 and 8 on behalf of Bharat Scouts and Guides, presented to her by Honorable President of India. She received State Teachers Award 2004 by Government of NCT of Delhi. Not only these, she has been awarded and felicitated by many other organizations in recognition of her contribution in the field of education, environment, social work, art and culture, human rights, and other aspects of her multifaceted personality. Active participants in a number of social and environment projects like Messengers of Peace, Project Boon Bhumi, Asha Ki Bija, Slow Food Movement, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Blood Donation Camp, Pediatric Eye Screening Camp, Dental Checkup Camp, Mindfulness in Education, Protection in Human Rights, Community Services, and also in collaboration with organizations like Bharat Scouts and Guides, DAV, CMC, Nav Danya, Rotary Club, Indian Institute of Human Rights, Bal Janagraha, Ayurgyan Nyas, etc. She has attended several teacher training programs, seminars, conferences as a resource person. She has done extensive research work and publication related to education and childcare. A very hearty welcome to Madam Vandana Kapoorji. Dr. Sudha Acharya, she is a principal, ITL Public School, New Delhi. Hearty welcome to you, ma'am. She has more than 29 years of progressive experience and accomplishment to her forte. In her role as a principal, she has expertise in curriculum design, technology-based educational development, multi-criteria assessment and evaluation, multidisciplinary approach towards academic and co-curricular activities, with exceptionally wide knowledge on administrative skills and implementation. She has also carved a niche on pedagogical inputs based on the theory of multiple intelligence, inclusive education, differentiated learning, and instruction style physical education in curriculum, value-based integrated teaching, and life skill development and programs for teacher development and well-being. She has also initiated workshops on mental health and well-being, special education, and various student exchange programs. Presently, Dr. Sudha Acharya, she has worked extensively on the policy document with the CBSE. That is one of the board which we have got in India. Globally, I would like to tell you the people, those are joining us from abroad, heading the CBSE National Inclusive Committee, the secretary at the National Progressive School Conference, president of the cluster of Sahodaya schools, the hub leader of the CBSE Hub of Learning Initiatives. She is a proud recipient of State Teacher Award, International Excellence Award for Service to Disabilities, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Award for Contribution in the Field of Education, Global Human Rights Protection Award, National Human Resource Optimization Award, opinionated her views at national television channels on anti-bullying, cyberbullying, teacher-student relationship, stress management during exams. Wonderful subject. Hearty welcome to Dr. Sudha Acharya ji. Now, we have also been joined by Madam Jyoti Arora. She is a principal, Mount Abu Public School, New Delhi. And we had a laughter moment when she told me, ladies and gentlemen, please clarify to everybody before you introduce me. It has got nothing to do with Mount Abu, which is a hilly place in Rajasthan. And it doesn't have any direct relation with Brahma Kumariji, except that we all worship all religions and all places and all people, whatever faith we have got world over. Now, Mrs. Jyoti Arora, she's an educationist by profession. She has gained a prominent position in society due to the exemplary work she has pursued in her career. A distinguished member of governing body of CBSE, recipient of CBSE award to the principals for her exemplary service in imparting quality education in school. She's an able administrator with a vision of promoting education in the area through bringing innovative methods and has successfully collaborated with different countries for exchange learning. Hearty welcome to Madam Jyoti Arora. Her name features at the top of reinvigorating the education system as well as for offering modern but value-based education to the young generation. As a panelist and expert at conferences of NPSC, Action Committee, and Sahida School, she has brought valuable transformation in the process of imparting a quality education. She is the National Commissioner Guides of Hindustan Scouts and Guides. As a member of CBSE, yes, please. There is a call coming from Canada. I don't know. Somebody from Canada is calling again and again. Okay. She is a member of the CBSE delegate at International Conference. She has successfully voiced for betterment of education process in a number of ways and left an imprint in different countries like China, Japan, US, and UK. Recipient of N number of national and international awards in the field of education and empowerment, with most recent one, Times Education Icon Award 2019. She has been a resource person for CBSE capacity building program on Happy Classroom. Wonderful. She's a freelancer in Kamal Jyoti weekly newspaper and Itwar weekly magazine, Delhi. Hearty welcome to Madam Jyoti Arora. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with education, your health, your wellness, your happiness, your humor, your harmony, and of course, humanity, they get everything achieved through education. So, Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 p.m., we are talking with the education fraternity. We have started with the schools, then we go to colleges, then we go to university, then we go to counselors, then we go to technology experts, and then we go to education stakeholders from the government. And finally, we will come out with a report and action plan for all of us together, what we will take on further. So what I wish to share here is Monday to Friday, we talk about empowering education, but every Saturday, same time, we will talk with you yoga, meditation, naturopathy, meditation, nutrition, organic farming, and how to live happily on this planet and how to make everybody happy. And every Sunday, so Monday to Saturday covered, then comes Sunday. Start enjoying every day. During this lockdown period, you must have realized, start enjoying every moment. Why every day? Every minute, every second, every moment. And every Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 11, we will bring international speaker. Those will talk on various themes and various subjects. On this coming Sunday, on request of about 700 to 800 principals from the world over, we are bringing a special talk for all of you, how leaders create empowering teams at work and education perspective. You will have lot of practical examples where teachers and our principals, our headmasters, all of you can be happy all the times. You got to just feel that we are one identity. We are not segregated or separated, or we do not have too many hierarchies. Rather, we are one family, one team. And that is the global perspective we are trying to bring world over. So don't forget, Monday to Friday, every day, 7 to 8 p.m. in the evening, and Sunday morning, 9:30 to 11, where we have the international speaker. Now, why this particular campaign? Why have we started this process? And we have started this process on 5th of June. And imagine, today is 10th. We have just taken 5 days to reach here, and almost 29,000 people are part of this campaign till this moment when I'm talking to you. Today also on the Facebook, today also when we are going live, and today when we are viewed almost in 42 countries, ladies and gentlemen, almost 9 to 10,000 people are part of this particular process and this particular campaign. And what exactly is this campaign? On the World Environment Day, we started on 5th of June 2020, and we are culminating and we are packaging and we are coming out with our action plan and report on 15th of August. That's India's Independence Day, Jal Sanrakshan, water conservation, how to save water, how to save every drop of water at home, at workplace. And we have started this campaign from our educational establishments, schools, colleges, institutions, wherever you are. And unless the teachers and unless the youth, they become the part of this process cannot be completed wherever we are. And this slide, I think I should take later. I will show you. And now, let me get to my three panelists, my three distinguished guests, those who have joined. Namaskar and hearty welcome to all of you, and extending you a very warm welcome this evening. We are proud to have all three of you, and I hope I have done justice with your introduction, although you have got illustrious career and efforts being put in. But whatever I could do in a humble way, in a shortest possible time, I have started to do that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with Madam Vandana, and we go with ma'am's presentation. Ma'am, you got to unmute your mic, and here is Madam Vandana Kapoor, Principal, SLS DAV School. Ma'am, next.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Very good evening, everyone, all my friends and all my educational fraternity. It's a wonderful occasion that we all are together and we are talking on relevance of education. And that too in the times of COVID-19, which is the best example that how we have adapted ourselves to this situation and made our teaching learning process very, very relevant in these testing times. Earlier, we were not that much adapted towards the technology, but definitely with the advent of this latest situation, we immediately took up that we trained our teachers. We trained our teachers not only in technology, but also various tools, and we could understand and analyze that how to go about in this difficult situation when even CBSE, our educational body, they are planning to once again streamline and how to rationalize the entire syllabus for this session 2021. But our immediate our teaching fraternity immediately took this opportunity. They trained themselves, schools, principals took initiative and immediately adapted that how to go about it, and it was so very fantastic that past 2.5 months we had been talking, we had been regularly in touch with the students, with all our educational fraternity. We are conducting webinars, we are conducting projects for our students. I would like to tell you here that our school conducted virtual assembly on Environment Day, and it was so wonderful. The children performed, and all the teachers, they not only presented different presentations, but the entire school fraternity could join in, and we celebrated this day with more enthusiasm than it would have been like in actual situation. So we immediately adapted this. There is always, when we talk of relevance of education, that what our students are expecting from us and what we are able to deliver. If we are able to deliver in the same quantum which matches the aspiration, the expectations of our students, then it really, really works wonders. If there is a gap, then certainly we have to check ourselves that whether we are able to deliver in a proper manner or we are missing something somewhere. So we have to see that our old method, the old drill and kill method, is it sufficient? I think it is not. Then we have to search out the relevant meanings. We have to find out certain excellent activities that both engage our students emotionally and connect, which is this connect is very important with what they already know, whatever previous knowledge they have, and what they already want to know. They already know their previous knowledge, and what they want to know, they already help in this helps in building the connections. And then this retention we are achieving it at is taking place or not. So their previous knowledge, what we introduce to them, and then what are the learning outcomes. If we are able to relate them cohesively, then knowledge becomes relevant because the child is aspiring to know that, and we are able to disseminate that. Long list of vocabulary words that don't have personal relevance or don't resonate with a topic about which the students have been engaged are likely to be blocked by the brain's affective domain. So it has to appeal to our affective domain, it has to appeal to our psychomotor domain for the complete knowledge. Then only the knowledge becomes relevant, and it appeals to us properly. Then we have to see whether we are able to give them enough hands-on experience or not. If we are able to give enough hands-on experience to our students, that makes the knowledge value based. The child is able to testify that knowledge which is being taught either virtually or in the classroom situation, offline or online, both ways. But it should give the child first hand experience. Then it should be very very relatable. If the knowledge which we are giving, like sir was telling right now, that we have to see whether we are picking up our environmental concepts, if we are taking up our social concepts, if we are taking our emotional well-being concepts, it should relate to them. If they feel that it is around them, it is in the environment, and they are able to relate, then it carries value. So the knowledge has to be relatable to be relevant. We are talking of the relevance of the education, so it should be relatable. We have to keep it real. Students want to learn about things that have an impact on them in their daily lives. For example, give students an opportunity to learn about where they live by researching how the culture, the religion, and the traditions which have shaped our cultural social fabric, the religious traditions also, uh, it makes our community and perhaps their lives as well. Then the demographic reality, the demography in which we are living in, this demographic reality has to relate to whatever we are teaching them, whether it's an environmental concept, whether it is a social concept, whether it is a emotional well-being concept. It should relate to which community we are living in, which country we are living in. And if we are making if we are able to make it relevant, then it carries value for the child to learn, and its retention is permanent. So we have to see that the knowledge is real, it is relatable, so that the child is having the experience of it in any kind of situation, and that knowledge is going to be permanent. Then we can have, we always in the schools plan so many trips. We sometimes we are calling guest speakers also, that gives them a new aura of learning. when they are learning with the teachers, they have particular set of learning outcomes. But when some guest speaker comes, this gives them an additional flavor of learning, and they are able to connect that whatever they are learning in the classroom situation has got a practical value of it. We so many times conduct career counseling programs where we call the people from different professions. That gives them an additional value knowledge that whatever the study is being done for has got a particular set goal, and that goal is achievable. And the people from the actual fields, when they come and deliver, the students are able to relate. And also they are able to ask so many questions which make their thinking and brainstorming more clear. Then we also have to use simulations,
Have some water, ma'am.
mimic the real.
Have some water.
Yes, sir. We can mimic the real life events. It immerses students to the topic. Then like if we take the concept of buy and sell, we can have a market project in the school, and we can ask them to make portfolios. It will help them to for the effective presentation of learning. Then we have to give some rewards also. So we need to make certain projects where they perform and then they are appreciated. This appreciation means a lot. This gives them additional confidence. This builds up their personality. They also understand that there is minimum difference between learning and the actual working situation, and they are heading towards a real goal, and they are learning what is value based. So this value based learning carries a lot of value.
Point well taken, ma'am. Point well taken. Kindly have some water. Kindly have some water. I would request you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, kindly have some water. I'll come back to you again. I'll come back to you again. Yeah. Let me just come to Dr. Sudha ma'am now. You got to unmute your mic, lady. You got to unmute your mic. Kindly unmute your mic, ma'am. Yes, now it's there.
Yeah, I have done that.
Okay. Sudha ma'am, you talked about initially when I read your CV, you talked about happiness. You talked about that at the workplace in totality. A couple of things which you had given me when I was discussing with you. Kindly try and emphasize. You gave head, hearts, and hand. The combination of these through head, hearts, and hands. And I would also request you kindly give the global perspective, because this particular webinar and this particular program is international arena where we are trying to bring the whole global perspective. What could be the best for our education system globally? And it should not be a policy, it should be an action plan. Dr. Sudha Acharya.
Certainly, and a very good evening and namaskar to all. Not since World War II, I think so many countries of the world, around the world, seen all the educational institutions go into lockdown at the same time for the same reason. So we had no time to reflect often about our learning pathways. But now educators around the world have been talking about the need for rethinking, reimagining, reshaping, rescheduling the education. What should be the shape of our future education? Do we really focus on academic excellence or holistic well-being? My focus will be on mental wealth and holistic well-being for a whole child. The basic purpose of education is not scoring marks. Our children are not scoring machines, but we train them to be good human beings with head, heart, and hand, who will have collaborative skill, who will be global citizens, who will globalize our Indian thoughts, our culture, our civilization. So when all of our children are confined to their homes, first thing when we connect with them, we try to actively engage young minds, not through content. We shifted, there is a paradigm shift. We shifted from content-based education, from teacher-based education, from textbook-based education to competency-based education, to experiential learning, to happiness quotient. You know, there can be IQ, SQ, DQ, even digital quotient also. So when we started with online classes, technology driven education, our teachers are no less than corona warriors. They could very easily adapt to the situation. They were very resilient, and they came up to the occasion, and they were experimenting, exploring them. So what we try to do is creating an atmosphere for our children where mental well-being is the first priority. When I talk about mental wellness, I talk about physical well-being, psychosocial well-being, emotional, occupational, environmental, financial well-being, and at the last, intellectual well-being also. Intellectual stimulation is most important for a student and teacher as well. So intellectual well-being cannot be ignored. When I talk about physical well-being, first when we started with online classes or started approaching our parents and students, because parents are equal stakeholders, we have to take them in our journey. So teachers, students, and parents. So that's why when we started with a routine for them, a structure or schedule, because without school, children were feeling helpless, they were feeling low, aggressive, uncertainty, anxiousness, all these things were overpowering. So we tried to tell them, you are not alone in this journey. It is okay to feel low. It is okay to feel anxious. Identify your emotion, then only we can deal with that. So we took parents into our loop, and then we tried to bring them with a proper diet, sleep, and exercise regime. That is the first thing, physical well-being. And when they started with our online class, first thing we tried to create a happy family circle time when all the family members can be actively engaged. They can go through their old past memories, which are happy memories. If grandparents are there, children could learn from their vast experiences. They could see the old albums also, the photographs, and feel happy. So a happy family circle time is very, very important, where they can pray together, they can plan a family menu or meal, or anything or any activity, they can exercise together. So all these opportunities have to be created to bring happiness, because as you know, during this COVID-19, as we were discussing before this session, that 40% rise in domestic violence worldwide. So children are not going through very conducive time at home. There is a lot of traumatic situation going on. Both the parents are working. There is a job cut. There is pay loss. All these things our children are witnessing. You won't imagine, one of the girl of my school, she said that I don't want to stay at home. I will stay with the counselor, because so much conflict I never witnessed in between my parents. So we had to bring, sanity in the family, talk to the parents, and they then realize that what is the situation. So children are going through a lot of difficult phases. All of us are. So first thing is mental well-being. We must bring some holistic well-being. Even when online classes were going on, digital well-being is one thing, because a lot of cyberbullying took place. All of you know that this boys locker room, girls locker room, lot of cyberbullying, the rate increased, the percentage increased worldwide. It's a global phenomenon, because our young students were exposed to the internet and online problems, and they were exposed to a lot of undesirable contents also. All the time parents could not monitor them. So we had to talk about digital quotient or digital well-being. We had to train them how to use social media constructively. So these are our first approach. And then we told them to learn a new skill, how we can utilize this time in the best possible manner. You can learn a new language. You can grow microgreen in your kitchen with a plastic tub and paper napkins. Or you can learn dance, music, performing art, or brain gymming, anything, any new skill. You can learn to bake or cook. So all these things you can explore, and learning a new skill, there is no age bar, there is no time, so we can use that. And another thing, we told our children to take care of all living beings around them, be it plant, be it their pet, and be it their grandparents or parents. Be a helping hand to your parents and grandparents. Take care of your plants, nurture your nature. Your active engagement with the nature will be helpful for sustainable development goals. So when a child told me that, ma'am, I never saw that tree, out of my window, so many birds are chirping. I never realized that nature is so beautiful. So we came up with a program of young reporters on environment. Beautifully, it is documented evidence. So on Environment Day, as ma'am was talking about, children came out with magazine, digital magazine, and they are reporting about their beautiful experiences with the nature. When I spoke about experiential learning, as they are staying at home, we told them you can do a virtual tour of a museum, of Globe Theatre, anything. So through experiential learning, when they see, they watch, they feel, they reflect.
I think your
Then they try, analyze, and create something new. So our children are agent of change.
Okay. So our
Yeah,
children.
can you hear?
Yes, we can hear. In between, there was a
Yeah.
little glitch in the technical. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
what I mean is that when this COVID-19 phase is going on, our children, we should sensitize them how post COVID-19 we will enter into a new norm, how they can take care of themselves, how the sanitization, how can we raise the temper of hygiene. You know, the young toddlers, because the pre-primary children, if we really practice with them, it becomes a habit with them. So their physical well-being, then this is short term, and in the medium term, when they come back to school, how can we bridge the learning gap? There is a lot of skewed learning taking place. Some of the schools are doing beautiful job, and some of the schools are not able to reach the last child. Our school is very diverse. We have got a lot of economically weaker section children. We have got children who are in urban slums. There is a great digital divide world over. So how we can bridge that digital divide, how we can reach that last child, that child of the laborer or people of marginalized class, how we should not leave them behind, how we can reach them. So schooling world over, according to UNESCO, children do not come to school only to get content knowledge. They come to school to have a midday meal also. You know, that is the basic. So getting education is one part, and taking care of holistic well-being is another part. For me, holistic well-being is more important than content-based knowledge. So we have completely shifted from content-based learning practice to competency-based, to experiential-based, to a joyful learning mode where learning is a pleasurable experience for the child. And learning can take place anytime, anywhere. So be it in a room, in a home, or in the playground, or in the canteen. Before March 2020, we were in the physical schooling. So learning can take place anywhere, but the child must be active. Young mind has to be plowed properly, and learning has to be relevant, meaningful. There has to be equal partnership. The children are co-designer. If you are doing some project, let them co-create, co-writer, co-designer. Let them explore collaboratively, have fun. So then only happiness will come out. A happy teacher only can create a happy classroom. So that's why we have to take care of all these well-being. When I talk about emotional well-being is most important. Unless we take care of emotional quotient, nobody can be successful in this world. So we are trying to make our children socially, morally, ethically responsible global citizens with 21st century life skills. When I talk about life skills, all of us know about life skills defined by UN. These are collaborative or creative, critical, problem solving, all these things we know. But one part I will stress that only technical knowledge will give you entry to a job market. We are training our children for the jobs which are not existing. Maybe 10 years ago, 10 years ahead, the job situation will be completely different. Our children are not ready, prepared for that. We need to make them ready and prepared. So only technical knowledge will not be sufficient. They need to have managerial skill also, which will take them to the middle level structure of a corporate. But most important thing is your soft skill, which we talk about soft skill, managing human resources, or life management skill, or communication skill, convincing, conflicting resolution, mediation, or sharing the credit, learning to say no, giving space to others, honoring the physical boundary and emotional boundary of others. These are soft skills which are very, very important. So that will give a child or take a child to the top ladder of success. So
Thank you.
soft skills are very, very important with managerial and technical skill. So we are
Thank you.
all making ready our children. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A lot of takeaways, what you have given to us, what you have shared with us. And I will get back to you on one or two points. You should be ready because I'm just getting a question. Somebody has written to me from Hungary. They would like to know, you got to explain intellectual well-being.
Yeah.
That is something, one part. And second question, what all involves in holistic well-being, because health, wellness, and there they mentioned that Indians talk about yoga, meditation, naturopathy, herbals, but what exactly you mean? So I'll come back to you that again.
Yes,
thank you very much
definitely,
for
definitely.
sharing. And of course, you mentioned about digital divide.
Yeah.
One question, because when I read your CVs and your biodatas, CBSC awards, and you got the national, international excellence awards, all three of you, you are a reputed principals. One question that people are asking me, and this question comes from the another country, they say, why India has got 48 school education boards? Why not there should be a same education throughout India for everybody? And as you made a mention, something digital divide world over. You mentioned in your talk.
Yes, yes.
So they are telling me that if you empower the seamless connectivity, so children can go through whatever are the contents, the modules, the curriculum, the syllabi in their own times, in their own way, whenever they are in mood to learn a particular subject. But why do you have 48 different boards in India? So be ready with this question.
I'll
You
come
all
back
three
to
are,
it.
yes, you all
Yeah,
three
yeah,
are principals.
definitely.
So we will talk about that. Thank you. And now let me just
Yeah, I
get
have all
to,
the answers.
we will get back to you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. So now let me just get to Jyoti ma'am. Jyoti Arora ma'am is also principal at the Mount Abu Public School. Some specific questions you should take on and give the global picture, global perspective. And your school is up to 12th class, 12th standard. You've got arts, commerce, science. And one question which comes to mind, somebody has given, but well, first you give your thoughts and then I will take on this question, which maybe I don't know to which principle it would be relevant. I will take on. Jyoti Arora ma'am.
Yeah. Hello, good evening, namaskar to all viewers, listeners. In addition to what my friends said, I would like to make two thoughts before I proceed with my PowerPoint presentation. In the present scenario, when the world is witnessing the most difficult times of the modern history due to this global outbreak of COVID-19, the role of a school has to undergo a sea change. You know, at the time when all of a sudden this lockdown period was announced, the biggest challenge with all the schools and the leaders was how to continue the learning process. And teachers took it as a challenge and they acted like a warrior, and immediately they adapted the technology. Technology helped each one of us a lot. Along with technology, I would say creativity was another one rescue for each one of us. And we were all set with a little bit of trainings before we started using technology with our children, and the challenge was adapted, accepted well, and the learning processes started very well. Now we see a threat to the education system because there is a complete paradigm shift. We are not going to meet the same generation after this lockdown period. When we meet them in the classroom, they are going to be entirely different generation. So our role has gone more challenging now, and the education needs to be gear up to address the challenges which are lying ahead that have emerged out of this COVID-19. And when we talk about education and its purpose, I think the standard answer comes to education is preparation for life. And when we say education is preparation for life, then what kind of life? If I have to talk about the purpose of education in the present scenario, when the entire world is facing this pandemic and the challenges are quite high, so what kind of education are we looking forward to? Certainly, we are looking forward for pro thinkers, a different kind of generation who is all set to deal with all the challenges with all preparations, and the relevance. When we say the relevance, what kind of relevance? Preparing the children for all kind of problems in the life. So if we look at the standard definition of education, which is a very common definition, that the primary aim of education is not to enable students to do well in a school, but to do well in the lives they lead outside. It is well said. So what kind of education do we look at? The education which has a clear and a good combination of knowledge, information, and skills. These days, we have already been talking a lot about skills, and my friend Sudha also spoke very nicely about shifting from content-based learning to competency-based learning, because that is the only solution what we look forward, which we are very hopeful with, that this is the only thing which will help our children to face or to get ready for the post-COVID life. So there are so many kind of issues which are coming forward. And here I would like to use my PowerPoint presentation. Just give me a moment, please. Yes, certainly when we say that we need to prepare children, we of course look at three different kind of developments: the social development, the thinking development, and the emotional development. So when it comes to learning-centric education, what do we mean by? I believe relevance of education refers to learning experiences that are directly applicable to the personal aspirations, interests, and experiences of students. And most importantly, it is an education through which the students get connected to the real world issues, problems, and context, and are able to express their views with a broader perspectives and standpoints. So this is a very standard definition of education, and whosoever is in the field of education is very familiar with whatever the terminology I have used here to make everyone clear about education. What do we mean by real education? It's all about preparing for the life. And then what kind of education? The real kind of education is journey from converting the human being into a being human, because my friend talked about many kind of well-being. So she spoke about mental well-being, digital well-being, holistic well-being, and all together, why do we look at all these kind of all kind of the point with the education? Only because we really want to convert a human being into a being human. And when we talk of education, it is not just four walls classroom education, but it is all about dealing with real-time situations. It's all about all life skills. And the education should be such that uh, uh, that we can tap into students' interest to embed skills in the classes to help them achieve content, and the students make real utility in true sense with concrete objective in mind. And when we look at the objective of education in nutshell form, it comes up like education is all about ensuring good health, happiness, peace, and contentment. Because whatever we do, at the end of the day, we look forward for satisfaction and happiness, and that's the reason that we have started talking very high about happiness quotient in the learning experiences of a child. Because whatsoever is our age, whatsoever we do in our life, at the end of the day, we all look at the happiness. So it should be empowering humans to be the problem solvers, innovators, and compassionate. Very important to have integration of all kind of life skills, whether these are defined by WHO or Madam added digital life skills also. So it's all about preparing a child for all kind of decision making, problem solving. Effective communication skills are very important, and the one has to be very critical in thinking and creative thinker. I spoke in the beginning that there are only two things which help each one of us to survive very well during this long lockdown period. There was the technology and the creativity. And when we start doing things in a very different way, and then we start enjoying it, and once we start enjoying, that output is many a times more. And this is what exactly we experienced during this long lockdown period. Teachers came up with beautiful ideas of teaching through variety of activities, variety of PPTs, variety of videos they made. So it was altogether a very different learning experience. At the same time, it was a joyful learning at the on the part of the student as well. And exactly we look forward for these kind of education. And when I talk about life skills, I'm very sure that life skills is one such subject which can never be taught in the classroom situation. For that, you really need to experience. And this lockdown period has really given us lots of opportunity to experience and learn a lot. So education is not only the responsibility of one person, to my understanding, which comes out of a classroom situation. Education is related to all active contributors, whether it's parent, whether it is a teacher, or the people we meet in the society. So in making the education relevant in true sense, I think the first and foremost factor on which is credibility depends on is the empowered manager. Here, the role of an educationist, role of an educator is really very important, because ultimately, how can we achieve all these objectives? It's very important to think seriously about it. And to my understanding, the only way to achieve objectives of real education is to ensure that education we are imparting is relevant and learning centric. Because at the end of the day, if I have to talk about the learning which happens in a classroom situation, even if it is happening through this online situation, mode of learning teaching process, we look at and we want to ensure that the learning is happening. So in making, so it means being the kind of mentor who will do all this. The leader has the greatest responsibility. The leader has to ensure that what kind of empowerment is needed. And it means that kind of mentor on whom students can depend upon for leadership, expertise, acumen, or emotional support, or any other aspect, because everybody in the system look up at the leader, and the leader has to understand all the important areas of making education relevant, and that is to in context to learning centric. So if these credentials are instilled in the mentors, education becomes relevant in its true sense. So if I have to talk about these important areas which I have just tried to mention here in my slide, it's all about imbibes life skills and values. This is one such area wherein every part of the world, I think, have started talking seriously about it. And this is the high time to experience life skills, and the kind of activities are being designed by the teachers these days. We are amazed. Even parents are enjoying. So it's like when we talk about life skills, to my understanding, there are four important life skills which are very common and which are very important at all levels, whatever the grade we are dealing with, whatever is the age group we are dealing with. And all these are communication skills, collaborative skills, creative thinking, critical thinking. This is one such thing which will help every learner to understand and handle life very well. So the children, they get exposed to their real self and they become critical thinkers and analyzers, which help them think out of the box. These days, this out of the box is a buzzword because this is really helping us. You look at the new startups, thousands of startups are there in the market and they are succeeding very well. They are doing very well only because they are doing the things, they thought of doing the things differently and they are doing it in a very different manner. And they even become better tolerant and open-minded to accept the realities with broader perspectives. So next in this comes to promotes innovations and problem solving and acumen and creativity. Innovation is one such area wherein I would certainly like to emphasize a lot, because even the ministry has started talking very high about that children should be given all best experiences, all best opportunities to innovate. Let them get space to think and deliver, imagine, analyze, and then produce. And who has to create this platform? The school has to create this platform. And who is responsible for creating this platform? I think the leader of the school. So we really need to review and revisit the entire school system, wherein we could use each and every corner, each and every opportunity. Either it comes through your books or out of the books, but we really need to create lots of opportunities for the children to promote innovation, because ultimately this is one thing which will help the child to survive and be successful in life. Next, to my understanding, is empowering children with transferable skills and practicality, because whatever we are teaching them today, tomorrow they have to take it forward to the society. If we are limited to the kind of teaching which is a student centric only, and it is not practical, it is not feasible, and the child is not able to use it further in his or her life, then I don't think that we are up to the real sense of education. So if the educators work on the concept to transform youth with innovative strategies to tackle the challenges, I think the education imparted becomes relevant to the context and long-term benefits are reaped. Because this COVID-19, post-COVID-19 time will have its ripple effects. And we really need to produce, as I said before, forward thinkers. And promoting ownership of content and flexibility is important. Here again, I would like to emphasize the lot of giving space to the child to think on his or her own and coming up with his own ideas. Lots of patience is required. When we talk about teaching, there is one word which is very common: the teacher should have lots of patience. Why we should have lots of patience? This is probably the foremost idea, that we really need to create opportunities and give space to the child to think and come forward.
Point well taken, ma'am. Point well taken. I've got another 1 minute with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So multimodality and promoting kindness, social and emotional skills. Ultimately, the kind of product we look at after completing the school education or higher level education, we look forward for a human being who is very compassionate, who is kind enough, who has all emotional kind of traits. So this is in nutshell form leadership for learning centered education. What all kind of things are very much needed. With it, the leader has to create a vision, then instructional programs should be in place. And I'm just doing it in a very hurried way because you said that I'm left with 1 minute only. So curriculum program is another important area for a leader to take care of, and assessment program, because as I said before, at the end of the day, we certainly want to know that learning is happening and children are adapting the learnings coming out of the classroom situation or any other mode of. So communities of learning, we need to create communities of learning. It's not just a student specific. Then organizational culture, social advocacy. I think if I have to go into detail, then I may need another 15-20 minutes. So I'm just running to. So there is a paradigm shift from offline teaching learning to online teaching learning. So here the question arises, is remote learning relevant to the present context, to the present situation? I think it is very important that we always keep these three things in our mind when we talk about remote learning, that we need to ensure that this kind of learning is developing independent learners, which is the need of the hour, because they are physically not in the classroom, they are at their home and they're learning through this virtual mode. So we need to develop independent learners, self-sufficient learners. Then home is the best place for experiential learning. We really need to convert our home into a small school, a small learning space, a small experiential learning space, if we really want to see the outcomes out of remote learning. And then pandemic is the best time to promote kindness. This I have already spoken about it. And if I firmly believe that another vital aspect for making education more relevant is to adopt learning-centric approach, which gives teachers the opportunity to use intelligent tools so that they can plan and deliver engaging lessons, because involvement and engagement of students is very, very important, while giving students voice and choice and the ability to take ownership of their own education. Personalized learning aids to recognize that students engage in different ways and in different places and benefits from individually paced targeted learning tasks that start
Thank
from
you.
where the student is and where they actually. So I would like to say that we all work towards making education relevant to the context. We can create many other Vivekanandas or Einsteins, but only when we are very, very passionate about it, when we are determined to achieve our goal.
Thank
So
you.
in all, we look forward for a complete shift in our approach of thinking, in our approach of dealing with the education, in our approach of dealing with the children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, wonderful presentation by all three of you. And we had taken all the points very well. You've got to close your presentation. No worries.
Just
no
a
worries.
moment. Just a
No
moment.
worries. No worries. No worries. Okay.
I think I need
Education
help here.
got to
I
be.
need some help here. Just give me a moment,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Okay. Well taken. Experiential learning and education got to be learning centric and not teaching centric. Wonderful. That point is an innovation, of course, and the skills what you made a mention. We want to continue? No. This will stop screen? Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now quick, I will take 2-3 points so that all of us, you can unmute your mic, all of you, and anybody can take on that question, but we'll go quickly, no explanations because a lot of things are there. My first question, anybody can take on, no problems. Anybody can take on.
Can I start with intellectual well-being, because
now that time has gone, I will just take the questions only because
okay.
because it has taken a lot of time, and my sincere apologies on that.
Yeah.
Okay, now few questions which are coming because they are coming from the world over. First question: do parents be the part of forming syllabi curriculum? First question, quickly, yes or no, all three principles. Should parents be part of forming a syllabi or a curriculum?
I don't think so.
We can take suggestion from them, but otherwise we cannot take all the parents, because how do you select them? Who will have
okay.
this
And the
prerogative
kind
of
Okay.
going and sitting with the authority and defining syllabus?
Okay, if you're making the education system learning centric, if you're going to make everything learning centric, because please let me tell you, whatever we are teaching may not be relevant tomorrow. Whatever skills we are giving today will become obsolete.
Very important.
Yes, because these
Their
skills,
inputs are
even
very
what
In
we are.
new education policy, students' view were taken.
No, ma'am. Very specific question
In new
they are
education
asking.
policy, when it was formed, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now question is, there are two ways. One is yes, one is no. If we say yes, we find the ways. If we want to say no, we find the ways. You have got your annual functions at school. you can develop a mechanism where parents can be a part of the entire process, because ultimately you got to see who is the ultimate beneficiary from that particular education. It is those children. And
True.
whatever we are teaching today, earlier, let's take Vandana ma'am, or for that matter, now I do not know. I go with my age. If I'm 70-year-old, we had taken one profession. We wanted to retire from that profession only, wanted to get a big memento from Vandana ma'am and keep that memento at a particular place in my drawing room. So whenever people come over there, they have a look at that particular memento and they ask me, and in a glorious way, I say, I spent 55 years with this institution. So when we are not sure, in one lifetime, the study shows that you're going to change 5 to 6 times your job and careers. So the relevance of today's education may not be there by the time the child will finish 12th class. The skill what we are trying to impart today. So my question very straight, should parents be a part of formulation of this syllabi or not, or curriculum?
They should be, sir. They should be.
They should be. Okay.
They should. There are
To
Number-
my
different
opinion,
Huh.
they should be allowed to forward their comments and suggestions and everything, because the kind of expertise is needed at the time of framing of syllabi,
Okay.
and kind of trainings have to be undergone. So
Okay.
teachers being into education from last many years, they know how to handle what all topics are relevant to the next higher class and what all topics will bring what in future to the child. I think
Done.
their suggestions and comments are most welcome, but when it
Okay.
comes to actually formation of policy or anything else,
Okay, second question. Should corporate be a part of forming syllabi or not? Because
don't think.
ultimately,
So
ultimately,
we can have corporate interface while children are there in the school. We
Huh.
are really taking them to corporate, and corporate is now coming to school to give that first-hand experience. Our
Okay.
children are going to factories, industries, to RBI
Okay.
to
So
gain that experience.
okay, so corporate interface in institution should be increased.
Yes, of course.
And that
Okay.
should be limited to the higher classes only. I'm really not in an opinion that should have any kind of involvement when it comes to junior classes, because essence of education is entirely different when we talk about a certain
Okay.
age level.
Next question, very sensitive. Most of the institutions are engaging their teachers in multi-administrative activities. You are not giving them a space or a room basically to focus on education or academics.
No, whatever.
No, it is not
To
so.
my understanding,
Okay.
whatever they are doing, that's a part of their learning as well, because we really need to update
Okay.
ourselves as well. We
Okay,
cannot have.
Don't you
Because
think that
if we-
teachers should have also
administrative-
managerial and administrative skill?
Yes.
If a teacher
Okay.
has managerial skill and administrative skill, it is good for her career growth also.
Okay.
A teacher
Okay.
who has joined as a primary teacher can go up to principal and inspector of the district.
Okay,
And
this is
if
the
they
question.
are into learning
their
of
profile
technology,
improve.
if they are
Okay.
into learning of technology, which has all sudden come over their head, that is going to add into their learnings, first
Yes.
of all. Number two, and they should be very well aware that technology will not replace teacher, but teachers without technology will be replaced by teachers having technology. So that's a need of the education. That's not the need of the system. That's the need of the education. How can we deliver the best? We really need to explore lots of information available, and that can be done only when we are well versed with technology. I'm just stating an example.
Okay, next question comes is, it's again from abroad. If a student only wants to play sports or a video games, then what action schools should take?
So if a student wants
Sports
to
is
play
fine.
sport, then it is he is most welcome. Most welcome.
And
Because
how about the constructive video games? Constructive.
if the video game, then we need to
Not
have a
in school,
time span for that. Whole day the child cannot play video games. No,
Not
you know,
in
you
school.
have to
Not in school, sir.
Not in school,
Not in school.
Yeah.
but nowadays in most of the countries in the management education, where management, where strategy, where tactics, where innovative strategies are being taught, it's all through the video games.
No, sir. That we select. And we know whether it has got an educational value whether it has got some practical value for the child, and that is selected as per the syllabi of the child, and also what the value it carries. But the child should not bring his or her own videos to the school.
Okay, okay. And one more question, which is coming from Malaysia, that is, should there be a pool of counselors separately in the schools instead of using a regular teacher for counseling?
No,
Yes,
counselor
sir.
is
Yes,
a,
sir.
There should
permanent,
be.
I mean mandatory. Counselor is mandatory in school. Of course, to take care of
And,
mental well-being, both of
and in
students and
addition,
parents and teachers. Yeah, Jyoti
Okay.
ma'am.
and
Be
in
counseling
addition to that,
department, sir.
Vanda ma'am,
There
please.
should be counseling department.
There should be a counseling department. Okay.
There
Ji.
should be a
So,
counseling department. We already have it in our school, and the major role of this department should be to counsel all the teachers, parents, and students. They should not limit their services only to a set of students, those
students.
who are asking for some kind of help. Routine counseling should go on, and every teacher should be should learn this counseling skills. And this is
okay.
the role of the counseling department, to train all the teachers to handle the common issues coming forward with the students.
Okay, there are a lot of questions which are coming, but then finally, I give 1 minute each one of you 1 minute, and in that 1 minute, you sum up as far as empowering global education. I'm not talking about Indian education alone. Please go ahead with that. And aim is to get the best thought out of you as a principal with such a long experience, with so much of versatility, and with so much of exposure, experience, where you have been talking about soft skill, hard skills, holistic healing, and intellectual well-being, and life skills, and learning centric. 1 minute each, I give it to you. Let's start with Vandana ma'am. And in 1 minute, give me your sum up, whatever you wish to say on the global perspective, empowering education.
Yes. So in this globalization era, we have to see that we are grooming our children. We are making them ready for the challenges of life, not only in our own environment, not only in our own country, but wherever they go. Because nowadays the children do not limit themselves that they have to be here in India only. They travel abroad. So we have to prepare them emotionally. We have to prepare them as an excellent social being. We have to prepare them intellectually sound and mentally also very, very sound. Intellectually also and mentally also very sound, so that they can face the challenges of not only environment around them, but they should be ready to face the challenges and to adapt also, sir. It's very
Okay.
important that the adaptation of any culture, any religion is good to them, and they are able to protect their own personality in all kind of circumstances, so that they come up as excellent human beings.
Now there is a question which is pouring on the Zoom webinar in between, although I told you 1 minute, but this question is so touchy. Today, PUBG League are being organized at schools. What principals have got to say?
And
What
it
is
is
organized?
paid. Lot of money is involved there.
No. This is a
Yeah,
question which was
No,
this
poured.
is a new
not
thing.
organizing this.
PUBG tournament is being
Ah,
organized during lockdown period, and
Uh,
thousands of children playing together. It's a
so,
tournament,
so
and
as principal, you'll accept it?
no, no,
no,
sir,
we
no,
No,
will we
no,
will
no.
not at
steer
all.
them to active engagement, some other engagement. Because if children are actively engaged and their minds are plowed, as I said, intellectual well-being, if they explore themselves in other activities which are relevant, meaningful, purposeful, then they will not be engaged with PUBG tournament. And regarding global education, I must tell that global education has 5 learning emphasis or perspective, that is interdependence, globalization as an understanding of the complex social, economic, and political links between people, and the impact that changes have one another, and respecting each other's culture, respecting each other's opinion, coexisting, cohabiting, and be a global citizen. That should be the basic purpose of our education.
We got to be a
Thank you.
global citizen. Okay. Madam Jyoti Arora.
Again, we look forward for an education which prepares children for global world. It's not that, because you never know what kind of opportunities they will have in the forthcoming times, and what all will be the requirements of those job opportunities. Ultimately, when we talk about school education or higher level education, it's all about preparing a child for a life which gives a person all kind of possibilities to live a sound life. And how to live a sound life? Only when you have good living being and everything. And in addition to that, I think values is one such thing which should be focused a lot. Whatever is the age, whatever is the standard we are talking about, values should always be an integrated part of learning. We talk about any part of the world, but integration of values, integration of skills, integration of all good aspects which makes a person a good human being, I should be taken care of. And then we can proudly say that the child is ready, all set to meet out the challenges of the global world. Sir, you will have to unmute yourself. Sir, Dr. Gulshan, kindly.
Yes. In fact, I was just working on my last 4 slides. That's why I was taking a little time to get on to that. Now, wonderful panel. A lot of inputs have come from your side. And we wish to work out a strategy together, all of us. We are not looking forward only to a policy. Rather, we are looking forward to an action plan. And when we are talking for the action plan, it is something very important which I wish to share with all of you. Something very important. Can we look at this particular slide? I just wish to share 4 slides with all of you so that we are on the common frequency and we just work on to, and here comes the slide. Okay, all of us, we can have a look at it. Just 4 slides, but you will get the whole crux of our efforts. Health, happiness, humor, harmony, humanity, and all that gets achieved. So health and wellness is very important. And Madam Sudha always mentioned about holistic well-being. Yes, it's something very important. We also basically encourage that and we look forward to that. And that is something very important. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have already discussed with you Monday to Friday, we are having academic deliberations, but I'm going to the previous slide once again. And every Saturday, we have got holistic healing, where we are talking about herbal, health, holiness, yoga, meditation, naturopathy, nutrition, organic farming, and whatsoever is good for our body. And every Sunday, 9:30 to 11, we have got international expertise coming to you. And those of us, those have come for this particular webinar today, and those have come from world over. If you want to get an e-certificate, you're requested, even if you're watching us on the Facebook, I will give you one email ID, send your particulars over there. That would help all of us. At the same time, also send your suggestions how we can work towards water conservation, Jal Sanrakshan, because next difficulty and the next problem globally is going to be on the water crisis, because water is going to be a very big challenge. We all may feel that there's enough water on this planet, there's enough water in our body, but consumable, drinkable water, that is the concern for all of you. So right at home, in school, in college, in institution, at working place. And this campaign we are taking up to 15th of August 2020, India's Independence Day. Keep sending us your suggestion. This is the most important slide. Today you saw a golden triangle, 3 ladies, wonderful principals. This is another golden triangle. People used to call earlier Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, but now we wish to share with you that B2B is no more business to business. It's a back to basics of life. That's what we have picked up during this lockdown and during this pandemic. That part you have to understand. First and foremost requirement is food. And when we talk about food, basic agriculture, animal husbandry. Imagine instead of ornamental plants, if we would have put vegetables and fruit plants, just across and along with our national highways and state highways, people, those were walking to their respective places, they would have plucked something from there, eaten, survived, and moved ahead without any difficulty. Second part, your health is very, very important, which we have to take care of. And the third pillar of the universe is going to be education. Let me share with you the entire research which our teams has done in 119 countries in last 2.5 months. And the synthesis of that entire report is education will never get back to that, what it used to be in the classroom before this pandemic. We have to pick up, the technology has to supplement, and we have to go for digital learning, digital imparting education, and earn and learn is going to be the norm of the entire system. Finally, wish to share, nobody alone can bring a change in the humanity or society. We got to start together. We got to empower. Somebody's mobile. Somebody's mobile. Thank you very much for that wonderful music, because music therapy is also very important in education. Very, very important. Like gamification, music therapy is also very important. I wish to share with all of you. Okay, so let's start together to empower humanity through global education networking. So ladies and gentlemen, ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, our website is given here, www.icsiindia.in. Kindly send your views, kindly send your suggestions at email ID innovation@icsi.asia. It should be related to education. If you want to have something related to water conservation and how to save water on this planet, that is also a part of the campaign. You're more than welcome. If you want to be a panelist, if you want to be one of the speakers during this entire journey, which we will have till 15th of August, kindly post your CV along with your photograph coming up onto this. And also you can send a small brief WhatsApp at 73411 or 73411 WhatsApp only, no calls, only WhatsApp. That's what we would request you. And you're more than welcome to send us email also, innovation@icsi.asia. This is what I just wish to share with all of you. And I'm back to my panel. I'm back to my panelists. I'm back to my principals. I'm back to my educators. They are the ones those who are going to empower the humanity. Tomorrow, somebody else would be sitting over here. You could be one of them. You could be a part of this entire mission, this campaign, this strategy, this innovation, whatever we talk about. At the same time, do share your thoughts. Sometime you have got wonderful thoughts, but you don't get an opportunity to share your thoughts or put across your thoughts. At the same time, you are working at a place in the hierarchy, you find it very difficult to put across your point. This is an open platform. This is an education empowerment platform. You're more than welcome, because it comes from the soul. And I think I will take that word, last one, your head, your heart, and your hands. They got to get together if you want to empower humanity. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your vision with us. And thank you very much for empowering the entire efforts and the education ecosystem. Namaskar to all the three wonderful and very respectable ladies. Thank you. Jai
Thank
Hind.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Jai
you,
Hind.
Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Thank you
very
very much.
Thank you.
And all of us, we should tell the whole universe, Jai Hind.
Jai
Jai
Hind.
Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
The whole world should be very happy. Our youth, our teacher, our educator, our principals, and everybody. And thanks for joining from the whole world. I'm so grateful to all of you, those who have been a part of this particular journey. Look forward to seeing you, meeting you, sharing with you wonderful thoughts tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Either come on the Facebook, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, where we come live, or you come on webinar and be a part of this particular journey. Thank you. Good night. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night. Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Good night, sir.